I've been an ACHE certified clinical hypnotherapist since 1991. And we're here today to discuss hypnosis and hypnotherapy and take you through a number of the principles of hypnosis and hypnotherapy that we've learned over the past 20 years and how it can benefit you and how you can utilize it to make those changes in your life that you would like to accomplish and change, both behaviorally, with habits, and with any other modification in your life that you would like to achieve. So with that, are there any initial questions or things that you would like to know?
Yeah, I was just wondering how you got into hypnosis.
Okay, that's fair. Let's start with that. Some 20 years ago, just over 20 years ago, I was having a lot of difficulty in life, personally. I actually was what people describe as an angeraholic. I was angry all the time. And I was in sales, and what I found was that people frankly didn't like working with an angry salesman. And it wasn't going well for me at the time, and it was one of those deals where I would go to work and I thought I was doing my best, and people would avoid me because I was easily set off or didn't handle situations very well. And it took very little for me to lose my temper. And at that time, we were raised in a large family. I also had 11 children, and they were all young and still at home. And really, I was working 2 and 3 jobs at times to provide, and it was a stressful time in life. And it was one of those times I talk about where every time I could make $1, the kids needed too, and it was just a tough financial time. So that being said, I was also having some difficulties with some folks where I would actually or could have altercations at times, even on the freeway. I mean, somebody cut me off and I'd lose my temper. It got to be one of those deals. And there were some other habits and things I wanted to work on and change as well. And I talked it over with a friend one day and told them the difficulty I was having, and they actually recommended me to a hypnotherapist in Salt Lake City, and said that they had had another friend who had gone to this person and had worked through some issues and had received all kinds of benefit and relief. And so I thought about it for about a month. I kept thinking about going to see this hypnotherapist. So I had another altercation with somebody, and I decided that, frankly, it was time for me to make the call. I felt kind of like people talk about, an alcoholic when they finally have to get up and say, I'm an alcoholic. I had to go see this person, and I'm sitting there and basically had to tell them that I'm an angeraholic and I need help and I want to deal with this issue finally, and explain some of the things that have been going on in my life and why I needed to do that. Anyway, to make a long story short, this therapist told me a lot about hypnosis and took some time with me in what we call the pre-talk. And I'll be doing a full-length pre-talk of what that includes. But took me through the pre-talk and explained hypnosis and hypnotherapy to me and why it worked. And the basic premise of it is that we have different trance states of mind where we can go into those different states of mind, and we develop singularity of focus, and we increase our ability to focus on past memories. And with that ability to concentrate deeper, if you will, a state of, sometimes we just describe it as deeper concentration, we're able to mentally focus on those things in the past that have been bothering us, and we can call them up in a very clear view and a very clear focus and reanalyze them and make new decisions and new choices around those events that took place, and reframe those as one of the words that we like to use in therapy, or we adjust those thoughts and predominant thoughts around those circumstances, and we create new thoughts and adjust those emotions and the emotional content being created by those thoughts. So she explained all of that to me, and that in trance or in hypnosis, I would be able to go back and supposedly call up whatever it was that was really bothering me and causing me to be angry. And the key to it is that every thought, every smell, every conversation, every touch, every sensory perception we've had from birth until now is still in our minds. It's all in there. And that's the beauty of everything that we do in hypnosis and hypnotherapy, is that we can access those things that are really bothering us and are causing us to do things that we really would rather not do at this stage in our lives, and we can understand why we started doing them in the first place. And so when I understood that it was a process of utilizing trance to access that kind of information, it made all kinds of sense to me, because she said, you know, Dennis, we could sit here and talk consciously, cognitive therapy people call it. We could talk consciously about why you think you do this stuff forever. Or we could hypnotize you, go back into this fourth level of trance, as we call it. And I have the different trance states on the site as well that you can look up and listen to in other lectures that I've done. But we could talk about what you think it is forever, or we can hypnotize you and take you back into what we call an age regression, and through the right questions prompt you back into those experiences that are still binding you down, holding you back, and keeping you from being all you want to be. And it's just a much more direct approach to access that information in the mind. And so I thought, well, this sounds pretty good. So she did hypnotize me at that point. And at that point, I went into trance as she did the induction, and followed her directions, and I thought that it was going to be different than it was. My experience wasn't anything like I thought hypnosis was going to be. I thought I'd be like knocked out or unconscious or all those myths that people have, and found that wasn't the case. I was fully aware of everything that was going on, and fully aware of her questions, and fully aware of my answers, and knew everything that we were doing. She took me back into the experience of a conversation between me and my mother that we had had in the family room some 17 years earlier than my hypnosis experience in the chair. In fact, it took me back to a time when we were having a discussion about something that had happened traumatic in my life and in our family's life, and took us back to a time that I had made some misinterpretations and some misunderstandings around the conversation that we had had and what had developed from it. This entire experience is recorded on the website, and I've written it up, and I have a audio of the story in this experience as well there. But needless to say, I had an experience there where I was able to access what the problem was. I was able to have a desensitizing emotional experience wherein I was able to release the anger and to let go of the issue, and then I was able to have an experience where we discussed those predominant thoughts that had created the anger in the first place, and I was able to grasp onto new predominant thoughts and let go of the old. And as I did, it released the anger, and I've never had that same experience since. It actually changed my life. I mean, from that time, my sales career changed, my relationships with my children changed, my relationship with my spouse improved. My entire life and my career just seemed to take off. And I eventually went to therapy school, and I learned how to do the processes myself, and those are the things I'm going to share in the coming videos, and I'm going to post on the site, and I now want to share with more people than just those groups and individuals that I've worked with over the past 20 years in actual therapy sessions.